What if aliens already know everything about us? Not our names, not our languages, but who we are as a species, our wars, our inventions, our fears, our dreams. For decades, people around the world have reported strange lights in the sky, objects that move in ways we can't easily explain. Most sightings eventually turn out to have ordinary explanations. Some don't. But whether those reports are extraterrestrial or not, they lead to a fascinating question. If an advanced civilization has been watching Earth for a very long time, what conclusions have they reached about humanity? Would they see us as intelligent, dangerous, promising, or simply another young species trying to find its place in the universe? What if we're not alone? What if some intelligence is observing humanity right now? Not to invade, not to conquer, but to study. Because if aliens really exist, there's an even more intriguing question than asking who they are. What do they think of us when they look at our planet from space? When they study our history? When they watch our wars, our scientific breakthroughs, our mistakes, and our achievements? What conclusions do they draw about the human species? The answer may be far more surprising than we imagine. The first thing that would probably catch the attention of any advanced civilization is that humans are a species full of contradictions. We are capable of creating vaccines that save millions of lives, but we also create weapons capable of destroying entire cities. We build hospitals, but we also build battlefields. We invented the internet to connect people around the world. Yet we often use it to spread division and conflict. To an outside observer, that might be difficult to understand. How can the same species be so brilliant and so destructive at the same time? Perhaps that's exactly what makes humanity unique. We are a civilization constantly caught between our best and worst impulses. Another thing that would certainly attract their attention is the speed of our development. For most of our existence, we lived relatively simple lives. For thousands of years, our ancestors walked across the same landscapes, used basic tools, and had only a limited understanding of the universe. Then something changed. In just a few centuries, we went from horse-drawn carts to space rockets, from candlelight to electricity, from handwritten letters to instant communication across continents. If a civilization had been observing Earth for thousands of years, they would likely see an astonishing transformation taking place in an incredibly short period of time. Perhaps they would view humanity as a young species, but one that learns remarkably fast. Yet they might also notice something curious. Despite all of our technological progress, we still struggle with very old problems. We still feel jealousy. We still feel fear. We still fight for power. We still divide people into groups. Perhaps aliens would conclude that our technology has advanced much faster than our collective maturity. It's like handing an incredibly powerful computer to someone who is still learning the basic rules of cooperation. The tool evolved, but the user is still learning. On the other hand, there is something about humanity that might inspire admiration: our creativity. Few species imagined in fiction display a creative drive as intense as that of human beings. We turn emotions into music. We create paintings that survive for centuries. We write stories about worlds we've never visited. We build movies, books, and works of art that inspire entire generations. Even before discovering other planets, we imagined thousands of them. Even before meeting aliens, we created countless versions of what they might look like. Perhaps an advanced intelligence would see creativity as one of the clearest signs of a sophisticated mind. And then there's something even more mysterious: love. To us, it feels normal. Parents sacrifice comfort for their children. People dedicate years of their lives to caring for those they love. Friends put themselves at risk to protect one another. But would every intelligent species develop something similar? Maybe not. Perhaps some civilizations evolved in completely different ways. If that's true, human emotional bonds might seem incredibly unusual, maybe even fascinating. Because many of humanity's biggest decisions aren't driven by logic alone, they're driven by the heart. Another unusual trait is our obsession with exploration. Ever since we existed, we've looked toward the horizon and wondered what lies beyond. When our ancestors saw a mountain, they wanted to climb it. When they saw an ocean, they wanted to cross it. When they looked at the moon, they decided to visit it. Today we look toward Mars. Tomorrow perhaps we'll look toward other star systems. That endless curiosity may be exactly what makes humanity special. Perhaps there are civilizations far more advanced than us that have lost the desire to explore. But humans seem incapable of stopping their questions. And every great discovery begins with a question. There's also the possibility that aliens would consider Earth a rare place. The universe is enormous, but size doesn't necessarily mean abundance. Perhaps complex life is extremely uncommon. Perhaps intelligent civilizations are even rarer. If that's the case, humanity might be viewed as something precious, not because we're perfect, but precisely because we're unique. Every intelligent species likely represents a different experiment of evolution, a different way of experiencing reality, a different perspective on the cosmos. Perhaps they would study humans the same way scientists study rare phenomena, not out of superiority, but out of curiosity. One interesting hypothesis suggests that advanced civilizations might avoid direct contact with young species. If that's true, there may be a reason for the silence we observe in the universe. Perhaps they understand that interfering too early could completely alter the natural development of a civilization. Imagine if a society thousands of years more advanced had visited Earth during the Middle Ages. The impact would have been enormous, perhaps irreversible. Maybe advanced civilizations learned that lesson long ago, and that's why they choose to watch from a distance, waiting for each species to find its own path. But there's an even more intriguing question. What if they're already watching? There is no conclusive evidence that the UFOs reported today are extraterrestrial spacecraft. That distinction is important. Many sightings eventually receive ordinary explanations, but some cases remain unresolved, and that's exactly what keeps the mystery alive. When reports emerge in the United States, Europe, South America, or anywhere else in the world, millions of people ask the same question: what if it's real? Because it would only take one confirmed discovery to completely change human history. Now imagine, for a moment, that an intelligence really is observing our planet. What does it see? It sees wars, but it also sees acts of kindness. It sees destruction, but it also sees rebuilding. It sees people making mistakes, but it also sees people dedicating their lives to correcting those mistakes. It sees scientists trying to understand the universe, doctors saving lives, parents protecting their children, artists creating beauty, explorers pushing beyond limits. Perhaps they notice something we often forget ourselves: that humanity is not defined only by its problems, it is also defined by its ability to overcome them. In the end, the truth is that nobody knows whether aliens exist, and even if they do, nobody knows what they truly think about us. But there is a fascinating possibility. Perhaps while we look into the sky searching for signs of them, someone is doing exactly the same thing on the other side. Perhaps another civilization is looking at Earth and trying to understand who we are, trying to determine whether we're dangerous, whether we're intelligent, whether we're ready for something greater. And perhaps the strange reports that continue to emerge around the world are simply reminders that enormous mysteries still remain unanswered. Because ultimately, the biggest question may not be whether they exist. The real question is, if they've been observing us for a very long time, what conclusions have they reached about humanity? Do they see us as a promising civilization, an interesting experiment, a species that is still learning, or something they have chosen to watch in silence for reasons we can't even imagine? And if the strange objects reported in skies around the world really are some form of observation, then perhaps the mystery isn't who is up there. Perhaps the mystery is what they already know about us. If you enjoyed this exploration, make sure to subscribe. We're a new channel, but we're just getting started. More fascinating videos about science, space, animals, evolution, and the mysteries of our universe are already on the way. And until the next video, keep looking up.